Something was floundering in the water. Fisherman called the police when realizing what it was. Fisherman Oliver began his day by going to his usual fishing spot. As he threw out his net, he suddenly noticed something floating in the water. At first, he couldn't really see what it was, but as he got closer, it became very clear to him he was in danger. Oliver was a proud fisherman. He had bought his own boat a few years ago in order to be completely independent. It had been difficult at the beginning, but he had persevered and was now able to support his family well. This had everything to do with a perfect fishing spot he had found a while ago. Unfortunately, this perfect spot would now have a dark association. He left like every Friday morning before the sun was even up to arrive at this spot on time. The water was calm and promising, and Oliver arrived right on time. He threw out his nets, standing with his back to the object in the water. It wouldn't be long before Oliver saw it, though. His first catch also promises a good day. His net is completely full, and Oliver can't help but smile. But the laughter is short-lived after he feels a reflection from the water blinding him. He looks up and then sees it. It is still at a great distance, but clearly an object with a considerable mass. Although time was a factor, he pays no extra attention to it at the time and continued to cast new nets. Oliver's fishing tactic was to move his boat a few dozen feet every few hours to find new schools of fish. Therefore, he knew he was getting closer and closer to the object. He was now wearing sunglasses, so that he was no longer bothered by the reflection and was therefore less aware of the object, costing him precious time. But when Oliver looks closer, he sees air bubbles surrounding the object. Was it an equally living organism? Was it some luggage that had fallen off a boat? Oliver is determined to find out, although in hindsight, he wished he hadn't. Oliver then pulls in the nets before he can leave for the object. Now that he is ready to leave, he slowly sails in that direction. Then, as soon as Oliver gets really close and sees the sheer size of the object, he realizes it's a living creature. He's scared to death. The beast hardly reacts to its arrival, which is why Oliver suspects it is injured. But what Oliver didn't know is that the beast was indeed injured at the hands of another fisherman. Oliver was in danger. Oliver is no coward and knows the sea like no other, so he doesn't shrink back, despite the terrifying face of this huge beast. He tries to get a closer look, but he can't get any closer. Oliver is suddenly startled because he sees another fishing boat coming from the corner of his eye. At first, Oliver is relieved, because although it was strange to see another fishing boat on his spot, this fisherman could potentially help him identify the beast. The fishing boat is getting pretty close now and doesn't seem to be planning to slow down. This also makes the beast more restless, Oliver notes. The other fisherman seems to be in a hurry and comes out of his cabin as soon as he approaches Oliver's boat. Oliver greets the other fisherman. "Hello, sir. How are you doing? Look, I might need your help here." It's like Oliver is speaking to someone who doesn't know the language because he doesn't get an answer. The fisherman has a harpoon in his hand, which he has aimed at Oliver. Oliver is terrified and fearfully says, "Look, man, you can have this thing right here," pointing at the beast. The other fisherman laughs and says, "Why do you think I'm here, Einstein?" Oliver jumps to conclusions after this new animosity from the other fisherman. He immediately tells him that he can have the beast and that he will continue fishing. He pulls in his net immediately to reinforce his words, but the other fisherman has other ideas. For the fisherman again aims his harpoon at him, ordering him to throw his phone at him. Oliver doesn't know what he's hearing. He asks the fisherman what he means, and the fisherman repeats his command. He tells the fisherman that the phone is in his cabin. The fisherman responds triumphantly and orders him to pick up the phone. What the fisherman failed to realize was that Oliver had never anchored his boat, and so Oliver immediately sails away after disappearing from the fisherman's sight to get his phone. Although his boat can't reach very high speeds, he has bought himself a lot of time to get away from the fisherman. Oliver realizes that he cannot solve all of this alone, and immediately calls the Coast Guard and the police. After calling, he looks around and then starts to worry. The fisherman has not followed him and is therefore clearly after the beast. As Oliver approaches the scene, he finds himself overtaken by the Coast Guard and police. He is relieved, but also all the more determined to get closer. He gets closer and closer and sees from a distance how the fisherman is completely overpowered by the police. As soon as Oliver arrives, he sees the fisherman handcuffed. He asks the police chief for an explanation, who then tells him that they had this fisherman on the radar for some time. The beast turns out to be a rare species of whale, and Oliver is told that the fisherman tried to kill and capture it to sell its meat. Oliver is thanked for his help and can finally enjoy his vacation.